You didn't fail. You learned. That's the part nobody teaches you when you're growing up. You fall down, they rush to pick you up. You make a mistake, they say it's okay and move on. But they never tell you that rejection is the best education you'll ever get. The truth is, rejection is not the end of anything. It's just the beginning of clarity. Every no you hear is a mirror. It reflects back to you where you stand, who you are, and how bad you really want it. You don't get that kind of brutal honesty from compliments. Rejection isn't personal. Most of the time, it has nothing to do with your worth. It's someone else projecting their fear, their limitation, their narrow view of what's possible. But the moment you absorb it as a personal attack, you lose, because now you're carrying their opinion like it's your identity. You're wearing someone else's? No, like it's your name tag. Rip it off. That label never belonged to you. The most dangerous thing about rejection is not the pain. It's what that pain tricks you into believing. It whispers to you that you're not good enough, that you should give up, that maybe this dream isn't meant for you. That voice is a liar. Rejection isn't a wall. It's a door, but only for people strong enough to knock again, even when their knuckles bleed. Do you have the strength to knock again? To stand there with dignity, not desperation. Too many people fold at the first sign of pushback. They hear no and think it means stop. It doesn't. No means adjust. It means refocus. It means level up. The rejection wasn't punishment. It was instruction. You just weren't listening. You were so busy feeling sorry for yourself that you didn't stop to ask, what is this teaching me? Because rejection is always trying to teach you something about yourself, about your environment, about your approach. You didn't get the job. Maybe you needed to learn how to communicate your value. They walked away from you. Maybe you were handing out pieces of your soul to someone who never even asked to earn it. Your business idea failed. Maybe you skipped the part where you needed to understand people, not just products. If you could detach emotionally for 1 second, just 1 second, and look at rejection as feedback instead of failure, your whole life would change. Because feedback you can use. Feedback has value. It gives you data. And in this world, whoever has the most honest data wins. But most people aren't honest with themselves. They hear, you're not good enough? And instead of asking why, they shut down, they retreat, they numb themselves with comfort, distraction, or worse, fake validation. Stop that. Feel the rejection. Stare at it. Ask it what it came to teach you. If it hurts, that's good. Pain is the spotlight. It points directly at the place where you need to grow. And you don't grow in applause. You grow in silence, in solitude, in setbacks. The people who are most dangerous in this world are not the ones who always win. They're the ones who've been rejected and came back smarter, stronger, colder, more focused. They use rejection like fuel, like strategy, like a tracking system that leads them toward the target. Because once you realize rejection is just redirection with better accuracy, you stop fearing it. You start looking for it. You start inviting the hard truths because you know they'll sharpen your edges. Smooth never made a weapon. You want to become powerful. Get used to being uncomfortable. Rejection reveals what your comfort zone was hiding. It rips the mask off your excuses. It exposes what you need to fix, not what you want to pretend is fine. And the truth is, most people would rather stay in a fantasy of almost than face the rejection of not yet. But if you can face it, if you can really absorb what the no is trying to teach you, you become dangerous, unstoppable, focused beyond fear. You stop needing to be accepted because you've accepted yourself. That's the shift. That's where power lives, in the place where you understand rejection is not the end of your story. It's the page that makes the plot twist worth watching. You're not weak because they didn't choose you, but you might become weak if you keep giving people the power to decide your value. You want to win in this world. You better learn one thing real fast: control the frame or get controlled by it. That's how life works. Either you walk in and set the tone, or someone else will do it for you. And trust me, they'll set it in their favor. Most people never realize this. They enter rooms apologizing for being there. They show up looking for approval instead of owning their presence. That energy, it's felt. And once people feel that you're looking to be accepted, they know you can be controlled. Control doesn't mean domination. It means leadership. It means you dictate how people perceive you, not the other way around. It's subtle. It's psychological. It's posture, tone, eye contact, silence. You walk in and you don't ask, "Do I belong here?" You tell the room, "This is where I'm supposed to be." People don't follow those who seek approval. They follow those who radiate certainty. Confidence is not noise, it's stillness. You don't have to say much. Just hold your ground. The second you need something from them, whether it's praise, reassurance, or permission, you've handed over your frame. You've seen it happen. In conversations, in negotiations, in relationships, the person who cares less controls the interaction. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it's control. When you care too much about the outcome, you lose leverage. Because now your behavior is driven by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of not being liked, fear of losing. You start performing instead of leading, and performers don't control the frame. They entertain it. Let's talk about rejection for a second. You got turned down. Someone walked away from you. Good. That's when the test begins. Do you beg, plead, explain, justify? Or do you lean back, stay silent, and let your absence do the talking? You want to flip the script? Pull away. Let the other person sit in the space you used to fill. If you were valuable, they'll feel it. If you weren't, then why were you begging in the first place? You don't chase what's confused. You stand firm in who you are. That's how you control the frame even when you're being rejected. The reason people don't respect you sometimes is because you keep handing them the steering wheel. You ask them how you should feel about yourself. You let their silence create your insecurity. You let their opinion define your identity. Stop. You're not their mirror. You don't need to reflect their perception. You create your own image and make it so clear, so strong, that they either match your frequency or fall away. And if they fall away, let them. This world doesn't reward the loudest, it rewards the most composed. You want to be respected. Walk in your boundaries like they're law. Speak less. Observe more. Make people adjust to your energy, not the other way around. Every time you over-explain, you're shrinking. Every time you need to be understood, you're lowering your value. High-value people don't explain their worth. They demonstrate it once. And if it's not recognized, they don't argue. They exit. You've got to stop walking into every situation trying to get picked. This isn't a game of validation. It's a game of positioning. And the most powerful position you can hold is this: I don't need you to choose me. I choose myself. That energy. It's unshakable. It shifts everything. People start treating you differently when they feel you're okay without them. That's when they start chasing. That's when you control the narrative. Not by force, but by presence. You can't fake this. People feel desperation, they feel insecurity, but they also feel power, real, quiet power that doesn't demand attention but commands it. You don't earn that by pretending. You earn that by doing the inner work, by facing your fears, your wounds, your broken places, and deciding that no one gets to use those against you anymore. You control the frame by knowing who you are and refusing to shrink for anyone. Not in love, not in business, not in life. You walk into every room like your value is not on the table, because it's not a discussion. It's a fact, and if they don't see it, you don't convince them. You keep walking. Most people are terrified of the word no. They tiptoe around it, avoid it, hate hearing it, hate saying it even more. But the truth is, the moment you master how to say no, you stop being manipulated. You stop being used. You stop being weak. Because until you learn to say no, every yes you give is rooted in fear. You say yes to be liked, to be accepted, to be safe. You say yes because you think rejection means failure. It doesn't. Saying no is where your power lies. It's where your boundaries are born. It's where you stop giving pieces of yourself away just to feel needed. People don't respect you because of how available you are. They respect you because of how grounded you are. When you say no, first, you flip the dynamic. You stop chasing and start choosing. You stop performing and start leading. Saying no first is reverse psychology in its purest form. Why? Because it shocks people. It interrupts the pattern. When you say no, with calm, steady confidence, not anger, not drama, you instantly communicate that you have standards, that you are not here to beg, bend, or belong, that you value your time, your peace, and your energy more than their approval. Saying no first isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being intentional, strategic. You don't hand out access just because someone shows interest. You observe, you test, you set the tone, and sometimes that means pulling back, even when you want to move forward. Because if someone is real, if someone is serious, your no won't scare them away. It'll make them step up. People who can't handle your boundaries were never meant to sit at your table. Let them walk. That's not loss. That's filtration. Most of us are trained to think that saying no makes us selfish, arrogant, difficult. So we keep saying yes to things that drain us, break us, dilute us. We say yes to relationships that deplete our self-worth. We say yes to jobs that suffocate us. We say yes to expectations that were never ours to carry. And then we wonder why we feel angry, bitter, invisible. It's because every yes that should have been a no turns into resentment. But when you start saying no with clarity, with grace, you start gaining space to grow, space to breathe, space to become who you were actually meant to be, not who everyone else expects you to be. Reverse psychology isn't always about tricking someone else. Sometimes it's about retraining yourself, flipping your own default response, learning to pause, to listen to that inner voice that says, this doesn't feel right, and actually honoring it. That takes guts. That takes self-trust. Because saying no often means standing alone. But I'll tell you this, it's better to stand alone in your truth than to crowd yourself with people who only love your obedience. You want to be magnetic. Learn the art of refusal, not rudeness, not ego, just quiet, unapologetic refusal to be anything less than aligned. There is power in the pause, power in not answering immediately, power in not jumping at every offer, every opportunity, every compliment. Make them earn your yes. Make yourself earn it too. Because your yes means nothing if it's not backed by self-respect. It becomes currency with no value. People chase what feels scarce. It's human nature. If you're always available, always giving, always folding, you don't inspire desire. You inspire control. They know you'll stay. They know you'll say yes. And that's when they stop valuing your presence. You become predictable. And in this world, predictable equals replaceable. But the one who says no first, the one who walks away first, that's the one they can't stop thinking about. That's the one they remember. Not because of cruelty, not because of games, but because self-respect creates impact. You've got to rewire your nervous system to stop fearing rejection and start respecting resistance. Resistance is your compass. It tells you where you're overextending, where you're people-pleasing, where you're abandoning yourself. Saying no doesn't close doors. It opens the right ones. It filters out what was never meant for you. It sharpens your vision. It commands attention. It teaches people how to approach you, not with entitlement, but with effort. Not with assumption, but with intention. You don't rise in this world by being agreeable. You rise by being anchored. Say no first. Not to punish, not to play games, but to protect the version of you that took too long to build. The version of you that no longer accepts breadcrumbs when you know you were born to feast. Because when you say no to what shrinks you, you say yes to everything that was waiting for you to wake up and claim it. You're afraid of hearing no, because you were taught that it means rejection, that it means failure, that it means you weren't enough. But that's not what no means. No means you asked. No means you dared. No means you showed up while everyone else stayed silent. You keep waiting for the world to hand you what you want without the risk of discomfort, and that's never going to happen. You're not going to get stronger by avoiding pain. You don't build immunity by hiding from the virus. You build it by exposure. Repeated. Intentional. Uncomfortable. And that's what you need to do with rejection. The only reason no destroys you is because you've given it too much weight. You've let it echo too loud in your head. You've made it personal. You hear it once, and it plays on repeat like a broken record. You obsess over it. You dissect it. You let it define you. Stop doing that. No is neutral. It's information. It's not a character assassination. It's not a prophecy. It's just someone saying, this isn't the right fit right now. That's it. It doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean give up. It means keep going. Adjust your aim, sharpen your pitch, find another door, or build one. You want to become untouchable. Practice hearing no so often that it loses its power. Go get rejected on purpose. Walk into situations where the odds aren't in your favor and ask anyway. Apply to things you're not fully qualified for. Make the phone call. Send the message. Ask for the raise. Pitch the idea. Ask them out. Not because you're guaranteed a yes, but because you're training your brain to survive the no. Most people never get what they want because they're too afraid to ask. They'd rather stay small than risk being dismissed. But playing it safe won't protect you. It'll suffocate you. You think rejection hurts because it bruises your ego. It doesn't. It hurts because it wakes up the part of you that still ties your worth to being chosen. But you're not here to be chosen by everyone. You're not here to be universally accepted. You're here to be real. And real people are polarizing. Real people make some people uncomfortable. Real people get rejected. A lot. You think the ones at the top got there by never hearing no? No. They heard it more than anyone else. They just didn't let it stop them. They let it shape them. Every no became a blade, and they used it to carve out their own path. You've got to stop seeking comfort and start seeking conditioning. Emotional conditioning. Mental toughness. That doesn't come from applause. That comes from resistance. From friction. From falling flat on your face and getting back up without asking for sympathy. Every time you get rejected and keep going, you rewire your nervous system. You teach your body that discomfort isn't danger. You train your mind to stay calm under pressure. That's where power lives. In the calm, not in the chaos. You don't want to be the person who collapses every time life says no. You want to be the one who barely flinches. The one who says, that's all you've got, and keeps going. Because eventually you'll get to a place where rejection becomes background noise. Not because it stops, but because you've grown past it. You stop reacting. You start calculating. Every no becomes feedback. Every rejection becomes redirection. You move with precision, not desperation. And that makes you rare. That makes you dangerous. You've spent too long avoiding the word that was supposed to make you stronger. You were never meant to crumble when they turn you down. You were meant to get clearer, sharper, bolder. That job said no. Good. Learn what was missing. That person said no. Good. Now you don't waste more time. That opportunity passed you over. Good. It just cleared the space for the one that fits better. But if you don't desensitize yourself to no, you'll keep misreading the message. You'll keep seeing rejection as punishment instead of preparation. Do you want to walk into rooms with power? Practice being told no and not flinching. Practice not needing every outcome to go your way. Practice staying grounded when the door closes. That's where you become untouchable, not by being accepted, but by becoming immune to being denied. Because when rejection stops rattling you, nothing else can. Not silence, not criticism, not failure. You've already faced the worst, and you're still standing. That's how you build armor out of rejection. Not by running from it, but by walking through it again and again until it stops controlling your next move. People chase what feels out of reach. That's human nature. We don't value what's handed to us. We value what we have to earn, what we can't immediately control, what resists us. The moment something is always available, always saying yes, always giving without boundaries, we stop appreciating it. It becomes background noise, and you don't want to be someone's background noise. You want to be the signal, strong, rare, unmissable. The truth is, people are wired to desire what denies them. It's not manipulation, it's psychology. We're not drawn to the person who floods us with attention. We're drawn to the one who makes us question whether we've earned their attention. Most people get this wrong. They think being kind means being accessible. They think being open means being available 24/7. They think love is about constantly showing up, giving more, saying yes, proving their worth. But when you're always there, when you're always saying yes, you don't create connection. You create comfort. And comfort without respect turns into complacency. You start to fade into the background of their life. Your presence becomes assumed, not appreciated. Your energy becomes consumed, not protected. But when you pull back, when you reserve yourself, when you become intentional with your yes, something shifts. People lean in. They pay attention. They feel the absence, and in that space, they realize what they were taking for granted. You never have to convince the right people of your value, but you do have to remind them with your silence, with your distance, with your refusal to give what hasn't been earned. People want what challenges them, what reflects strength, what doesn't hand over approval like a gift bag at the door. You are not here to audition for connection. You're not here to water yourself down just to be accepted. You're not here to give just to be noticed. The more you prove, the more you lose. Because the ones who need proof don't see you. They see a transaction. They're watching what you do for them, not who you are. The most powerful thing you can do is stop performing. Stop explaining. Stop showing up in ways that cost you your dignity. You don't win people over by being easy. You win their respect by being unavailable in all the right ways. Unavailability doesn't mean cold. It doesn't mean distant. It means selective. It means knowing your worth so well that you don't feel the need to convince anyone of it. You don't prove your value by being present all the time. You prove it by knowing when to pull away, when to stay silent, when to choose yourself even when everything in you wants to be chosen. That's the test. Can you stay grounded when everything around you is begging you to prove yourself? Can you stay still when your impulse is to chase? Because people don't chase those who chase them. They chase the ones who move with calm certainty, who stay composed, who never look frantic or desperate. Scarcity breeds value. It always has. It always will. Look around. What's rare is protected, treasured, hunted. What's everywhere is ignored. It's not about being a mystery. It's about being mindful. About understanding that your time, your presence, your attention, those are currencies. And when you spend them too freely, they lose their impact. But when you hold them like they matter, others start to treat them like they matter too. That's how you change how people treat you. Not by yelling, not by complaining, but by controlling access. By removing yourself when you feel overlooked. By staying silent when someone expects noise. By saying no without guilt and yes with purpose. You don't chase what's already chasing you. You chase what feels strong, centered, unbothered. That's why people are drawn to confidence. Real confidence, not arrogance. The kind of confidence that doesn't flinch at silence. That doesn't need a reply. That doesn't fold at rejection. You can become that person. Not by pretending, but by practicing. Practice holding back your first reaction. Practice not giving too much too soon. Practice staying still in your power. Because once people feel that you're not easy to sway, they respect the weight of your yes. They pay attention when you speak. They step up when you stop stepping in first. What you withhold tells people more than what you offer. Pulling back creates desire. Space creates curiosity. Not to play games, but to protect your worth. And when you finally give that yes, that presence, that version of you who doesn't show up for just anyone, it hits different. It stays with them. It teaches them that not everyone is available just because they want them to be. You keep thinking rejection is something to heal from, something that damaged you, something that left a scar you now have to hide. But rejection didn't break you. It built you. If you're smart enough to see it, every single rejection was a layer of armor being welded onto your skin. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. The reason you feel hurt isn't because you were rejected. It's because you believed rejection meant something about your worth. It didn't. It meant something about your path. And paths aren't always straight. Sometimes they're slammed doors. Sometimes they're detours. Sometimes they're people walking away without explanation. You don't need the explanation, you need endurance. Every time someone left you, every time you didn't get picked, every time life told you no, you got stronger. Whether you realized it or not, you built the ability to hold yourself up. You learned how to breathe through disappointment. You learned how to stop needing someone to tell you you're good enough, because you started saying it to yourself. That's not a scar. That's armor. And it doesn't make you bitter, it makes you resilient. People confuse those two. They think just because you don't flinch anymore, you must be cold. No. You're just done being broken by things that were never yours to carry in the first place. There's something powerful about being the person who's been rejected 100 times and still gets back up. You can't fake that kind of strength. You earn it. You get it by walking through moments that would have shattered someone else. By standing in the wreckage of no and saying, okay, then I'll find another way. You don't become sharp without pressure. You don't build toughness by being accepted all the time. You build it by being told, you're not it, and refusing to let that be the final word. You use it as fire. You use it as fuel. You let it shape your discipline, your vision, your edge. Rejection will always be part of the game if you're playing to win. The people who avoid rejection are the ones who never try. They hide behind fear. They never ask, never push, never put themselves out there because they'd rather be safe than bruised. But you've been bruised. And you kept walking. That's power. The bruise fades, the lesson stays. The armor stays. You stop needing smooth roads when you learn how to walk on broken ones. You stop needing applause when you've built your own approval from silence. The reason people can't manipulate you anymore is because rejection taught you how to stand alone. You know how to be without them. You've already felt what it's like to be overlooked, dismissed, ghosted, ignored, and you didn't crumble. You adjusted. You re-centered. You stood still when everything told you to chase. That kind of energy, that's unshakable. You walk into rooms differently when you're not scared of being told to leave. You speak differently when you're not desperate to be heard. You connect differently when you don't need anyone to stay. That's not ego, that's strength. That's armory. No, was resistance training for your identity. It built definition in places you didn't know you had. It forced you to ask, who am I when I'm not chosen? And if you answered honestly, you found something deeper than validation. You found self-respect. You found peace that doesn't shake when someone pulls away. You found clarity about what you deserve and what you'll never tolerate again. Rejection didn't leave you with wounds. It showed you where you were already bleeding and gave you the tools to stop it. There's nothing more dangerous than someone who no longer fears rejection. They become bold, focused, unafraid to walk away. They don't cling. They don't beg. They move with calm detachment because they've already been through the emotional fire and they came out shaped, not shattered. That's what you are. You're not soft because you've been hurt. You're solid because you healed in the fire. You didn't patch over your pain. You built through it. You didn't numb it. You used it. And now, what used to crush you doesn't even shake you. Rejection is part of the path for those who lead. You don't become who you're meant to be without friction. You don't develop grit in peace. You need the sting. You need the silence. You need the moments where no one clapped for you but you kept showing up anyway. That's when your armor was formed. Not the kind that blocks love or makes you hard. The kind that makes you wise. The kind that protects your peace without closing your heart. The kind that reminds you, every time someone says no, you've already survived worse. And now you move differently because of it.